we have to start establishing that this is our place. From here on out, hey, this is what we play for. We're better safe than them. Let's go. Come on, go get it now. Let's go.
Welcome to the Dan Majerle Show. Barry Buetel alongside the head coach Dan Majerle following a 64-59 victory over North Carolina Central on a Monday evening before the team travels to Boise State on Tuesday to face the Broncos on Wednesday evening. A big win for you guys to improve to 7-2.
Yeah, good win. We handled it pretty well in the first half. Second half, we came out and really couldn't shoot the ball. They played the 3-2 zone, pretty good zone. But we found a way to get stops when we needed to and came out with a tough victory. So I'm happy. We knew this was going to be a hard game, but it was a well-fought game for that. I thought they played really well, and we just found a way to win.
No fast break points for you guys in the game. They seem to have the speed that countered you guys.
Well, they pressed a lot, and that we wanted to make sure we could have forced the issue with the pressing, but we wanted to make sure also that we weren't turning the ball over, and we only had 6 turnovers tonight. So sometimes when you play faster against a zone or play faster against a pressing defense, you're going to turn it over a little more. So we kind of slowed it down a little bit and made sure we took care of the ball, and they did a good job, and they had a formula that thought they could beat us, and they almost did, but we pulled it out.
Braun with 20 points, 7 rebounds, played well again.
Yeah, I mean, he's still not shooting the ball like he shot. He missed some big threes down the stretch, missed a layup or so, but Josh is the big reason why we're where we're at, and he's got to, like I said, he's got to play really well for us to be good this year. Your best players have to be good, and Casey has got to do the same thing. Casey's not shooting the ball well. He's got to find a way to start shooting it.
You've seen Shaq Carr the last couple of games getting extended minutes. What do you see from Shaq?
Shaq's doing a better job of taking care of the basketball, not so loose with it. Defensively, he's been better. He's such a good penetrator. He's also taken some shots, which I like. Before, he would turn down a lot of open shots, which helps nobody. So he's been more aggressive looking for a shot. So as long as he stays focused and continues to play hard, he'll get some time.
Your team's now 7-2. You travel out on the road. What do you hope to improve here as you go along? But you're facing a team that's 9-1 in the Broncos.
Yeah, I want to see how tough we are. It's always hard to go on the road and play, and we don't go on the road much. We haven't been out of Phoenix yet. We were at Talking Stick, but to go to Boise and face a team like that is going to be a really good test. So I'm looking forward to seeing how tough our guys are and how we play.
You did mention after the St. John's game that the team's too soft. Is this going to help this team toughen up? Is that what they need to do?
Well, I hope so. I mean, it's kind of easy when you're playing in this arena every night and you got this crowd behind you. It's kind of easy to get kind of lackadaisical, and sometimes it helps to get on the road and face against some adversary and some tough teams on the road. So we're going to do that in the WAC, and we'll definitely do that in the WAC tournament. So this will be good for us to get out. Now,
for the last 2 games, you've had Laver in the starting lineup, Fifi in the starting lineup. What are you seeing from those two, and are they gelling with the starting 5?
Fifi played okay. He made a few threes at the beginning. Made some really bad mistakes defensively, which is disappointing because he's a really good defender. And Alessandro's not playing well. He keeps turning the ball over. He's got to make a shot. I mean, he only took 2, but he's missed the shots, and he's just turned the ball over too much. He's a freshman. He works really, really hard, but there comes a time where you got to start playing better.
Finally, does that put a lot of pressure, knowing that you'd said after the game tonight that you're going to have to live and die perhaps by the 3 because you don't have those bigs down there, and they need to step it up.
Yeah, well, they know. We've got to be able to throw the ball in the paint and be able to score. Kiante's got to do a good job. He's got to make free throws. He's got to make layups. And Alessandro and Roberts and Matt and all those guys down there got to be able to score in the paint, or it's going to be some long nights for us.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks.
Coach Dan Majerle, stay with us. More of the Dan Majerle Show comes your way after we take this time out. Welcome back to the Dan Majerle Show. Barry Buetel joined by Kiante Vernon, the senior from the GCU men's basketball team. Thanks for stopping by, Kiante. It's always great to see you. Well, last game, 8 for 8 from the field. The first one in the D1 era here at GCU to hit the first 8 for 8 from the field. You were down low and doing your business down there. How did that feel?
Felt good. Like I told you before the interview, it was easy because obviously I got some great passes from Casey and other teammates. It just was 3 or 4 lobs, something like that. So it wasn't like I was shooting all threes, you know what I mean? So it was pretty fun.
It's amazing though when you're down there and you do what you do best. It just electrifies the crowd. It has to stir the team up too. They've got to love it, and I'm sure it pumps you up too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially you get a good dunk, and then you make the team call a timeout or something, and you see everybody running onto the floor, everybody excited. It definitely swings the momentum on our side.
You've had some classic shots this year. You hit, I believe, with your left hand, and then you turned around and you gave it the stare. I love that. That was as well. Those are some of the little nuances that you got to get pumped up about during the course
definitely.
of the year.
I don't know where that one came from. It was just kind of a spur of the moment thing. Everybody after the game was asking me if my hand was all right, but yeah.
Your tenure here, when you came, can you kind of look back at how far you've grown and what this transition's been like for you personally?
Unbelievable. if you do some of the stuff that we've been through as a team and me as an individual within this last 3 years, it's been unbelievable. And I wouldn't have picked this. This is a great spot. I wouldn't have wanted to change anything that has happened in the past years to lead me to this point in my life, because it's all part of God's plan, and it changed me as a person and even more as a player on the court.
What's it been like to be coached by Dan Majerle?
Oh Lord, where do I begin? It's great, honestly, but he shows you the ins and outs of what you need to do, what you don't need to do, what it takes to get to where you want to be. And obviously, everybody's goal, if you're in college basketball, everybody's goal is to play in the NBA or play in the next level. And he's been there, so he's giving everybody the ins and outs of what you need to do and what not to do. So it's been great, and it's don't get me wrong, it's hard, but that's what I came here for. Yeah, exactly.
It can be definitely a tough love that he displays.
Definitely.
You guys are tournament eligible. What has this year meant for you guys going into it, knowing that there's the tournament at the end of the road here for the conference and potentially the conference championship?
I think it's more of a sense of urgency now, especially knowing that we have that opportunity, and that's what we've been fighting for since I've been here last 3 years. But since they made the transition up, that's literally what everybody's eyes been on, is going to the tournament. We want to be the first ones to do it on the first year, so that's going to be huge for us. We've been working hard, and we're going to continue to work hard every single day until that time comes.
The other teams in the conference, the Utah Valleys, Bakersfield, New Mexico State, the conference is getting tougher and tougher.
Yeah. We're just worried about us, honestly. Yeah. Without us, it doesn't really matter what they do, because if we're not executing on offense and then getting stops on defense, it doesn't matter who we're playing against, we won't win. So
you've been fortunate to play in some pretty good venues. Talking Stick, most recent one downtown. What was it like to take on St. John's in that building?
I'm gonna be completely honest. It wasn't the same. I wanted it to be a little more like this.
Yeah.
Because this is. If you've been here, it's unbelievable. I know you have, but it's ridiculous. But Talking Stick was fun. It was a real nice environment there. Would like to come out with the win, but it is what it is at this point.
You seem to have kind of taken a leadership role in the court. You're talking to some of the bigs. What do you see in a Blumbergs and also Alessandro Lever? Not only, they obviously have the size, but they come from Latvia and also Italy. That's got to be difficult.
The sky is the limit for both of those guys. Especially, they're both really smart. Both, as you know, they both can shoot, and they have an inside-out game. So it's hard to guard both of those. They're 6'9" guys, 6'10". And Alessandro has size on him. Rob has athletic ability. So, like I said, the sky's the limit. I show them the little things that I know from me being undersized. I try to teach them little tricks and stuff that I get offensive rebounds and stuff from. So just trying to lead them for the next 3 or 4 years that they're here.
I got to say, too, that you've been able to stay on the court. I mean, it's all about those personal fouls and getting the minutes, because that's when the production happens. When you're on the court, you excel. How have you been able to kind of contain that and adjust your game to try to limit those amount of fouls?
Like we've been focusing on for the past 2 years, eliminating the dumb fouls, the little stupid ones where I know that I shouldn't be doing. Yeah, well, I know I shouldn't be doing the stuff like the hustle fouls. Like last game, I got a foul on the back tap trying to hustle to get it. That's understandable. But the dumb fouls where I know I'm not going to get a steal or something, then I'm like, okay, that was dumb. Now I got to go sit down, and now I got to be mad about it on the bench. So eliminating the dumb ones is definitely, eliminating the dumb ones definitely helps me stay on the floor.
Kiante, thank you so much for your time. Good luck for the rest of the way.
Thank you.
All right, Kiante Vernon, our guest. Stay with us. More of the Dan Majerle Show comes your way after this timeout.
Hi, I'm Paul Coro, Lopes Insider, here with Grand Canyon teammates Josh Braun and Casey Benson, who also were Gym Rats teammates. You might know them as the starting backcourt of the Lopes, but at one point, Josh and Casey were teammates as 10, 11-year-olds on the Gym Rats.
Yeah, we were.
What was that like to play with them back then? What were you guys doing?
It was fun. It was a blast. I mean, don't think we would have ever thought we'd be here today, but I mean, it's crazy. It's kind of like we never picked up where we left off, essentially. But no, it was fun. I mean, that was back when we just kind of rolled the ball out and 10 years old, just having fun with each other, playing basketball.
You had a loaded team. You guys went to Greensboro and the Nationals and everything, but Casey was still the point guard, but you were.
I was a 5-man. I was a 5-man at that point. Yeah, no, I ran center. That was the paint was my spot, I guess. But a lot has changed since then.
You guys obviously have a tight relationship. It's been maintained ever since then, right?
Yeah, no, it has. I think of all those guys, I think you've been the one I've stayed in touch with more so than anybody, man. So it's been good to kind of start playing together and we get to finish our college careers together.
Casey, what was it like to play with Josh then and then keep that relationship to rejoin him now this season?
It's pretty awesome, pretty special. I mean, just kind of be able to share it with each other, obviously. I mean, knowing each other for so long, being good friends. And even when I left, we still kept in contact throughout every season. I kept tabs on how he was doing. He kept tabs on how I was doing. So it's a blast. I mean, I don't think you couldn't have written it much better.
Yeah.
Now, his hair's changed a lot, though, right?
Yeah, he had long hair back then, man. He had real long hair. But, like you said, it was cool to see him. Like we said, we kept in touch. It was really cool to see him in the national championship last year. That was fun to watch.
But that was really the beginning of when you guys believed you could even do things like this. The hoop dream kind of started there, right?
Yeah, no, it really did. I mean, I know for me, I think you'd played on it a couple years before, but that was the first time I ever played on a competitive basketball team before. It was all rec league and stuff like that before, and then got to join on with Casey, and that was when it all kind of started for me. I know he was on it, a year or two before? Or?
Yeah, I think maybe a year, a little bit, but it was kind of beginning for all of us.
Yeah,
I mean, we were really fifth graders or whatever it was. So, and here we are today. I mean, it just kind of, the way it all kind of started and how it's, where we progressed to is pretty special to think about.
Crazy, huh?
So they made a great national run then, and now they'll try it again to try to lead the Lopes to the WAC championship. I'm Paul Coro for Lopes Insider.
I am now joined by the GCU Lopes Insider, Paul Coro. And Paul, you had an opportunity to chat with Josh and Casey about playing as kids. That has to be a wonderful story to be reunited here on the court here at GCU.
Yeah, I know when we found about that in training camp, we're like, wow, that's amazing, 12 years later. And then in doing the story and talking to their families, the funny thing is they're the same kids now on the court, off the court as they were back then. Their parents see all these similarities in personalities, the way they carry themselves. Casey's got a fire in his belly while he plays, but he's this calm, nice guy. They're probably the two nicest guys on campus, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. It was funny, Josh played the 5.
Yeah, Josh was the power guy. At one point he was a 5'7" power forward, ranked in the top 100 in the nation for power forwards. And that changed a little bit.
That's funny. For more on that story, log on to GCULopes.com. Check out Paul each and every day. Wonderful stories there. Checking out GCU Lopes and the entire athletic department. When you talk about the men's basketball team, as we tape this, they're 5-2. They're taking on North Carolina Central. Then they go to Boise State. They come back for a couple of games over the holiday break. We hope to see you out here at GCU Arena. This team on a roll a bit. They had a little scuffle against St. John's, but they've kind of regrouped here as of late.
Yeah, I think those two games where they lost to San Diego and St. John's, I think those put a little alert in the team about what they need to do as far as intensity-wise. Their brand, as we've spoken again, is defense. And to be that kind of team, they're going to have to bring the intensity night in, night out, have the depth in the bench. And that's one of the things that we're seeing as the season goes along. We're seeing bench guys start to step up into bigger roles. Even as Coach Majerle has shuffled the lineup a little bit, I think it's creating a little bit more balance with that second unit too.
We'll talk about that. I mean, Fifi's in the lineup. They put Alessandro Lever in. Oscar's out, and Robert Splumbergs is also out. That adjustment.
Yeah, I think, as he said, it had nothing to do with really those guys being pulled out. It's just they needed a little bit of shakeup for how they're playing. I think putting Bloomberg's and Oscar in the second lineup, I think that creates a little bit more scoring for that lineup. Those are guys that get points in different ways. Oscar creates so many things on his own in transition or even in the half court at times, and Bloomberg gives him that shooter from the outside. And some size too, so you don't lose the size from the second bench because you're just shuffling him and Lever. And Lever's, with Lever and Kiante in the starting lineup together, now you've got a lot of bulk down there.
Yes, you do indeed. How about, you mentioned defense too? Has that ever been stressed? Scoring defense, 5th overall in the nation. You take into account some of the opponents, but it's still right there among the best in the nation.
Yeah, I think even in their losses, they were not bad defensively. Those were off offensive nights where if they shot like they usually do, they would probably have won those games because the defense kept them in that St. John's game all night. We were just waiting for that run to come, and it never came. But I think defensively it's been really strong across the board, and I think that's because they've got a lot of versatility. They've got more size than last year, but now they're able to switch so much because they've got guys who can guard different positions and the length to cover the lanes.
It's awesome playing here at GCU Arena, but after the game at St. John's, Coach Marley said the team's soft. They got to go out on the road. They're going out on the road. They're taking on a pretty tough Boise State team. They're going to be traveling to Louisville. It's going to be a tall test. Also, Illinois coming up before conference play. This team needs to be ready for that.
What a great addition to the schedule the Boise State one was. That Coach Lee really worked hard to get that game in there, and he's Boise State's a team that was runner-up in their conference, beat Oregon, broke their long home winning streak. So, I mean, there's nothing about looking ahead to Louisville or Illinois. I think Boise State's going to be a big concern, but then Louisville, obviously, that's going to be a massive barometer for the program to be in that venue, that story to program and see where they are.
All right, Paul Coro, our guest, the GCU Lopes Insider. Stay with us. More of the Dan Majerle Show continues after this. Welcome back to the Dan Majerle Show. Barry Buetel alongside the head coach of the women's golf team here at Grand Canyon University, Lauren Gasecki. And what better spot to do an interview than right here on the GCU Championship Golf Course. Hello, how are you doing?
Hi, good. Thanks for having me.
It was a fantastic fall season for you guys. You went to some great locations: Utah, Oregon, Kentucky, Hawaii, Washington. 3 top 4 finishes, and then you conclude in Hawaii with a second place finish and came really close to Ole Miss.
We did. That was very exciting. Just to see the team go out there, all 5 of them put their scores together and had some of their best scores in tournament play was really exciting. Pretty fun to watch, and leading up to it, we really worked on our short game. October is kind of a tough time here in Arizona. Most of the courses are closed for overseeding, but we are very lucky here. We have 2 practice facilities. So Dean, our superintendent, kept one of them open for us. And the past, 2 weeks leading up into the tournament, we just did short game. Went out and played, and came right back to short game. So I think that had a direct effect on how we finished, and the girls went into it really confident, and it showed.
What are your objectives with the fall season? You've got a team that's coming together. You're on the road a lot. I would assume team chemistry is something that is stressed as well early on.
Yes, definitely. With a small team like ours, team chemistry kind of will make or break a team, I think. Getting the team together, doing fun events, having dinners, making little short game competitions, coming out here playing 3-hole competitions. It really brings them together. So it's a lot of fun. And then we'll throw a few coaches versus team play in there. So we're undefeated right now.
Really?
So, yeah.
Oh, a little bit at stake there.
So it's pretty fun. But yes, team chemistry is really big for us.
Now, Deanna Salvatore did a tremendous job in that tournament in Hawaii. She's your senior. She seems to be the leader of the squad, right?
She is. Yes, definitely. Leads by example in everything she does. She's our SAC president. So she does a fantastic job, in the classroom, on the golf course, all around GCU. She does a great job for us. But she's had a great year so far. We're pretty excited. I think, being that senior, she's kind of come into this year as this is my final opportunity, and let's have more fun with it rather than putting so much pressure on herself to play well. So I think we've seen quite a change in her, and it's going to be pretty good for us.
There seems to be a little bit of competition right now as far as who's going to be on that squad playing in the tournaments.
Definitely. That's kind of the hardest part about my job right now is picking the top 5. With the team I have right now, any one of our players could travel for us and be in the lineup. So from our freshmen all the way to our seniors. So I love that it makes it tough for me, but I think it makes the team better as well. If they're competing against each other at home, when they get to a tournament, all they have to focus on is winning.
And one freshman that definitely has made a statement early on, she's from Bangkok, Thailand. It's Siri Pachana? Pachana. Can you talk a little bit about Siri and what she's meant to your team early on?
Siri's awesome. She's really special for us. We're really happy that she's here. We're blessed to have her. She brings a lot to the team. She's funny. She really has helped that team chemistry aspect that we were talking about. She's best friends with everybody on the team. It doesn't matter who she's with. But then her golf game, man, if she's like this as a freshman, I can't even imagine what she's going to be like as a senior. She finished, I think, even par and came off the course one day and was like, how do I get better? That wasn't good enough. And she, you know, would pull us off to the driving range or the putting green and be like, can you help me, you know, tweak my swing, look at my putting stroke, whatever it is. So I'm expecting phenomenal things.
You got to love that as a coach to have that from one of your
fun.
players. What a
It's a lot
great
of fun.
story. Her dad was her coach. Her dad watched videos from the great story on GCLopes.com from Paul Coral. You should check it out. Great story on Siri. Coming up now, it all starts back up in February. Talk a little bit about it. It's at Riverside, California. You got the GCU Invitational coming up, and then the WAC Championships are right here at Legacy in South Phoenix coming up, and your postseason play eligible. So tell us a little bit about what will happen and transpire here in February.
We're very excited. Obviously, being our first season that we're eligible, you know, we're just super pumped. But we have 4 main goals. Obviously, first one's academics. You know, I'm so impressed with the girls. We traveled a ton in the fall, but they kept their grades up. They studied on the road, you know, on planes, in the hotel room, whatever it is. So, you know, I anticipate that going into the spring. Second goal, win our home tournament. Obviously, everybody wants to win their home tournament, but especially for our 3 seniors, you know, they've been here for years. They put that time and effort in. We really want to get it done for them. Third goal is to win another tournament on top of that. Like you said, most of our tournaments are right here in Arizona, so I think we have the upper hand on quite a few of them, and I think we can get it done. And then finally, our goal, obviously, win conference. First time we can play in it. I really feel good about it. I think we can get it done, and that would give us a regional berth. So
It's got to be such a blessing to have this championship golf course for the team, the home course to practice and utilize for both the men's and women's teams. It's a tremendous asset, I would imagine.
It's amazing. Like I said, it's a great tool for us recruiting-wise, and then obviously it's shown. That's what helped us for Hawaii, and I anticipate the same thing for the spring.
All right, it's too good of a day. The wind is a great excuse for my game as well, so maybe I can pick up a club or two. Thanks so much, Lauren.
Yes, thank you for having me.
All right, Lauren Gasecki, the head coach of the women's golf team here at Grand Canyon University. We'll be back with more of the Dan Majerle Show after we take this time out. Welcome back to the Dan Majerle Show. Back with Paul Coral, the Lopes Insider, and there's other things besides men's basketball going on here at GCU. Men's and women's swimming tearing it up, and also men's volleyball in the top of the rankings.
Yeah, men's volleyball for the first time in program history, number 15 in the nation to start the season. That's a great thing for them. And then swimming making program news too. They have the first NCAA championship qualifiers in the athletic program at the D1 level. They had a great meet. They've been ranked in the top 25 on the men's side. And Mark Nikolaev, the Russian, has the top 100-yard backstroke time in the nation. So he's the one that kind of spurred this whole thing that helped qualify. They'll be in at least 3 individual events and 3 relays, pretty much because of what he did and then what the relays did at Northwestern.
Oh, congratulations to Coach Schaefer and Coach Worley with the men's volleyball team as well. Great success there. Men's basketball, the 18th and the 21st. We encourage you to come on out. The Holiday Power Pack, great seats available. This environment, you can't beat it. I know you've been in some premium NBA venues. This place rocks.
Yeah, this place rocks it every night. No matter the opponent, no matter the score. You know, I've had friends come and visit, and they say they're up by 30 and they're still going crazy, and it's true. They come to see the Lopes.
All right, my thanks to Paul Coral for being our guest, the Lopes Insider. Check him out at GCLopes.com. That'll do it for this week's edition of the Dan Majerle Show. Thanks for tuning in.